thanks. Well, good evening and welcome to the City of Cedar Falls Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for this Wednesday, April 8th, 2020. And we are doing our first, I guess, tonight, as this is a video conferenced Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. So there's a couple things before we get into the roll call, etc. Just kind of on the upfront side for technical issues that I just want to go through real quick, and then we'll get into the regular meeting. If you are trying to get into this meeting, there are some phone numbers you can use by dialing the phone number 1-646-558-8656. Or 1-312-626-6799. And when you're prompted, there's an access code, which is 319-804-8847. You can join by your smartphone or computer. There's a link. I'm not going to read all that. You can see the links, I think, on Channel 15 or the Channel 15 YouTube channel. If you try to connect there by the website, I think the information is on the website for the connecting to, if you need to do that. And then, since we're using Zoom video, if you're able to connect that way, there is a little button on the participants list, which you can raise a hand if you want to speak. The commissioners should all be turned on so they can speak, as well as the staff. But if you are an applicant or somebody from the public, etc., you may need to do that in order to get recognized. And we'll try. The mayor is helping us and as a tech support tonight to try to keep our communication rolling. So we're going to do our best to deal with life in the COVID-19 world. And so hopefully this will go as planned. If not, we do have some provisions if we have problems with technicalities that we will recess for a short period of time and see if we can correct them. And if we can't readily fix problems we run into, we may go ahead and suspend the meeting. But we'll see how that goes. Hopefully everything will go off without a hitch. So kind of with that introduction, I'm going to ask Karen Howard if she would call the roll.
Okay, good evening. Hartley?
Here.
Holst?
Here.
Larson?
Here.
Leeper?
Here.
Lynch?
Here.
Prideaux?
Here.
Saul? Okay, that's it.
Great. All right. Well, our first item of business is the approval of the minutes from the March 11th, 2020 meeting, and I would entertain a motion to approve that.
So move.
Second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
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 So that motion carries. We'll move on to public comments. If there's anybody who is logged in and would like to make a comment that's not pertaining to an item on the agenda, if you would raise your hand or use the *9 to be recognized. I'm not seeing anything there, so we will move on from public comments. And our first item of business tonight is a public hearing, and it's for the industrial park expansion land use map amendment, low density residential, industrial, and public utilities. And Shane, you're going to introduce this?
Yeah, we're going to, thank you, Marty. We're going to share our PowerPoint presentation now. And I'll run through this pretty quickly. You want to give me the mouse, Chris? Should probably go into
Presentation done.
Yeah.
Okay, can everybody see our screen here?
Mm-hmm. Looks good.
Everyone's good? Okay, excellent. Thank you, Marty. So the first thing on the agenda here is land use map amendment. If you recall, this was introduced back at our last meeting on March 11th. Just a quick overview. The city purchased about 200 acres of farm ground right here located near the corner of Viking Road and South Union Road. After we purchased it, we've been working on annexing this area into the city of Cedar Falls. That annexation was approved by the state in February, and the final documents have been recorded, so that annexation is now complete. The annexation area does also include about 7 residences. There's 6 residences along the south side of Viking Road and 1 at the corner of Union Road and Viking Road. And then also there's a Cedar Falls Utility substation. So that's the area that we'll be talking about here. So currently the current future land use map, which is part of the comprehensive plan adopted in 2012, obviously doesn't show this area as being designated as anything because it was outside the city limits. But you can see the area to the east, which is the existing industrial park, is shown as industrial, and then the areas to the north, I guess the areas north of Viking Road are not in the city limits, and some areas are. Those are shown as mostly low-density residential. So in keeping with that theme, what we are proposing is to designate these new areas as 3 different classifications. One is the 200 acres that the city purchased with intent to develop. We'd like to designate as industrial. The substation that's owned, that Cedar Falls Utilities maintains, we would like to designate as public and utilities. And then the 7 residential properties, we would like to designate as low density residential on the future land use map. So again, this was introduced at our last meeting. I did send out a new notice to property owners regarding the meeting today. I have not heard of any comments from any of the surrounding property owners. So staff is recommending approval then of the land use map amendment to designate these properties, which are now located within the city of Cedar Falls.
Great. Thank you, Shane. Any commissioners have any additional questions before I see if we have any public comment? See none, I'll ask if there's anybody who would like to make a comment or a question on this in the public. We can you can raise your hand or use *9. You can be recognized. Well, I'll give a moment as our technology is new to us, and I am not seeing anybody logged in, so I'll just bring it back to the commission for any discussion and motion or action. Is there any comments or thoughts? I guess my comment was, I think it was seemed pretty straightforward at the last meeting when we reviewed it, and I don't see any problems with moving it forward personally.
I don't either. I think it's a consistent use and it makes sense to me.
Same for me. I would move for approval.
All right, it's been moved by Leeper for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded by Lynch. Any further discussion? If not, okay, then I will ask Karen, will you take the roll call then?
Okay. Hartley,
Aye.
Holst,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Leeper,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Prideaux,
Aye.
So it's all ayes, so that carries. So that goes on to city council then. Do we know what the timing is on that?
Probably end up setting the date of hearing at either one of the next council meetings, so probably within the next 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay, great. Thanks, Shane. So our second item is another industrial park expansion item, the rezoning from A1 to R1. and MP1P for this same property. And Shane, you want to take us through that?
Thank you, Marty. I'm going to pull back up the screen share again here so we can go through this one. All right. All right, so this is a rezoning request on the same property from A1 to R1 and M1P. Again, so this is the location map showing the areas here. As I mentioned, the annexation is now complete. All the documents have been filed and recorded with the county recorder and with the state. So this area is now within Cedar Falls. The Cedar Falls code states that whenever you annex property into the city limits, it automatically becomes zoned A1 agricultural, which is necessitating the need then to do a rezoning on this property. We are looking to rezone, again, the 200 acres that the city bought for industrial development, plus the utility, the Cedar Falls utility substation from A1 to M1P, which is planned light industrial district. The existing industrial park to the east is zoned M1P, so this is just kind of a continuation of that zoning district. There's 6 residential houses, acreages along the south side of Viking Road, currently adjacent to the industrial park, that we're proposing to rezone to R1, which is 1 and 2 family residence district. Those 6 properties are being used for just single family homes, so that seems to meet with that zoning classification. And then that property at the southeast corner of Viking Road and Union Road, we are not proposing to change that. That's automatically zoned A1, and we are proposing to keep that as A1, so that one will not be changing. Again, that's about 20 acres. There is a house on there, but they do some things that are related to agricultural that fits in that zoning designation, so we're not planning to do anything with that. Again, when you're looking at rezoning, you kind of look at utilities, sanitary sewer, water, other utilities. On this map, you can see that there is sewer and water, kind of where all 3 of those yellow arrows are that point to these properties. When we established the industrial park, both of those roads, Technology Parkway and Venture Way, were stubbed to this property line, with the utilities extended to those property lines too. So those are available to be extended to the west. And then also for those houses along Viking Road, we are planning to extend the sewer and water along Viking Road to be able to access those properties as well. Looking at roadway access, again, this is a concept plan for that land that the city owns. You can see that there would be access within the existing industrial park, and then outlets to 3 different directions. An outlet up to Viking Road, an outlet on the South Union Road, and then 2 future accesses to property to the south. Now, there's property to the south of this that's privately owned as farm ground. And again, just like what we did with the existing industrial park, we are going to show these roads being extended to the south, because eventually when this industrial park, this area fills up, I think we would see that as a logical extension going to the south. So there is a adequate roadway access that will be able to serve this site from all different directions. And again, the existing residential uses all have access either off of Union Road or Viking Road, so those are already covered off of the existing roadways. And then I mentioned this last time, but we already do have a plan for Viking Road. Currently outside the city limits on Viking Road, it's just a seal coat road with a ditch. We are planning to upgrade that in 2022 and 2023, which would upgrade that road to an urban section that will have curb and gutter and sidewalk. So we already have that programmed in our capital improvements program. And I believe the design works, the engineering department's already begun design work with the consultant on that. Again, this is the development concept plan. Again, 32 lots for development with that stormwater detention basin along the north there at Viking Road. As I indicated at our last meeting, we've had several neighborhood meetings with those residences along Viking Road and Union Road. A buffer is one of their main concerns, and we think that putting that oversized detention pond with like a walking trail around it and landscaping and berming is really going to help with that protective screening. The neighbors have seen this concept plan and are generally on board with what we're doing. So again, we've had good conversations with them and plan to keep coordinating with them as we move this project forward. So with that, staff's recommending approval of the rezone again from A1 to R1, 1 and 2 family residence district, and then M1P planned light industrial district.
Great, thank you, Shane. Would ask for anybody in the public who would like to comment to raise their hand or go into *9. We can see if there's any comments on this. Looking through the list, I'm not seeing anything. So I'll go ahead and just bring that back to the commission for any further questions, comments, and that or action.
It's pretty straightforward. I would move for approval.
All right, it's been moved by Hartley. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Larson. So is there any further discussion? It's all seemed pretty straightforward before, but there's not.
It's pretty consistent with what we saw last meeting.
Yep, I think it looks good. We'll see no other comments. We'll go ahead and I'll ask Karen for the roll call.
Okay. Hartley,
Aye.
Holst,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Leeper,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Prideaux,
Aye.
all ayes.
All
Motion
right,
carries.
great. All right, well, that takes care of our two public hearing items for tonight. Under our old business calendar, we have downtown site plan review for Community Bank and Trust. That item is on the agenda, but has been withdrawn by the applicant, I think, till a future date. But we do have a second item on that same project, the easement vacation request for Community Bank and Trust. And Karen, is that you that's introducing that one?
Yes.
It's all yours.
Sorry. Little technical difficulties here. Okay, just a reminder of where this is located. The property is located at the corner of First and Clay Street in downtown Cedar Falls. The big star there on the screen. This is requesting there's a little a storm sewer easement in the northeast corner of the property. You can see the storm sewer in this location here. And the bank would like to have that easement reduced so that they could, in the future, build a new bank closer to the corner, which would be consistent with our downtown zoning standards. The area of the easement is approximately 370 square feet. This was dedicated in the late 1980s as part of the First Street reconstruction project. So what they would propose to do is vacate the orange space here on the screen would be vacated, and then they would reestablish a new easement on 5 feet on either side of where the storm sewer is right now. So we would maintain about 50 square feet area as an easement. So it's fairly straightforward. Staff feels that the easement vacation is reasonable. We feel that what's proposed to maintain as an easement is satisfactory and will allow us to continue to maintain our storm sewer in that location. So with that, the Community Development Department recommends approval of that partial storm sewer easement vacation for this property. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thanks. Any questions for Karen on the application? I'll go ahead and open it up if there's anybody in the public logged on who would like to comment or have a question on this. Raise your hand or use the *9. We'll look through the list here and see if anybody's out there. And we're not seeing anybody. So we'll bring it right back to the commission for discussion and action.
It's like a reasonable request.
I think it was very straightforward when we looked at it previously.
I would agree. I would move to approve.
All right, it's been
Second.
moved. And where's the second? Brad, okay. All right, we moved and seconded. Karen, you want to call the roll?
Okay. Hartley,
Aye.
Holst,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Leeper,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Prideaux,
Aye.
So that motion
the
carries.
motion carries. Mhm.
Very good. That concludes our old business calendar. We have 2 items of new business for tonight. The first is Highway 1 site plan review for a Dupaco Community Credit Union. So I think it's back to you, Karen. Is that right?
Yes, and tonight we have one of our new planners, Chris Stevie. I don't think he has presented to the commission in the past, but he's handling this case tonight, so he will give the presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, and indeed, I have not presented to this body in the past, so this is new for me. So bear with me. Okay, so the location of this property is at the corner of Viking Road and Highway 58. It is the same property where the Doughy Joey's restaurant now sits, and it will replace the Doughy Joey's. The reason we're looking at this is because it is zoned Highway 1, which requires that Planning and Zoning review this, that the Planning and Zoning Commission review this. As you can see on the screen, the proposed building stays outside of the utility easements, which is a 50-foot utility easement on the north and on the west. That makes it more than sufficient to meet the setbacks of the zone as well, and setback from the roadways. These are just some highlights of new things that we're seeing on the site, such as a drive-through that doesn't exist on the current building. To be clear, it will be a new building. They're going to tear down the existing building and put a new building in. We're proposing a monument sign, which we'll discuss in a little bit. As far as the parking area is concerned, there's a new parking island that they're proposing to put in, and they took out some parking spaces on the west side of the property that were actually compact car spaces, and converting it to green space to meet the green space requirements. So moving on. So they are proposing about 28% green space. The requirement is 25% in the Highway 1 zone and also in the Highway Corridor Greenway overlay, which this also sits in. So they more than meet the planting points that we require, which includes parking lot trees and street trees, and many different species of trees, bushes, and otherwise, I should say shrubs. So there we go. The changes to the parking area really are minimal. I already pointed out the parking island and also the west side of the property, adding some green space and taking out some parking. The parking requirement is 30 spaces. Even with taking out those spaces, they still have 52 spaces. But in our estimation, that's not necessarily overparked because there are likely some sharing arrangements, parking area sharing arrangements that have been in existence between the different businesses in the development. So, so that should be satisfactory. As far as the design of the building, it's pretty consistent with, I mean, if you've seen a Dupaco credit union, they have kind of a look and feel to them. This is not different from others you probably have seen. Pictured on the right is one that is currently in Waterloo, and it illustrates actually the intersection of the facades on the left-hand side. So to give a couple other details, the brick is an architectural smooth concrete masonry unit. So it is a nicer finish to the building. They're using a plum and a cream color for those. There are also metal panelings for the orange surface. The architectural style is also relatively consistent with the neighboring buildings. It has a little more of a pop to it, but nothing that is, you know, appears negative to us. So, as far as signage is concerned, they have two proposed signs on the buildings, one facing to the southwest, and then one facing to the northwest, and then a monument sign that's on the west yard area of the property, and that would face the freeway entrance on Highway 58. Just to give a little bit more detail on the monument sign, the height, I didn't discuss the height in the staff report, but the requirement for that is that it be under 25 feet above the surface of the highway. So that's something that we'll ensure when we're doing the actual signage permit for that. And that's something we'll work out with the developer. You can see some examples of the wall signs on the right. So with all of that, we've reviewed this. It really seems consistent with the area and the zone, and we recommend approval. Is there anything else are there any questions?
Any questions for Chris from the commission? So we're looking at this as an introductory item, correct? But I think what you're suggesting as a staff is that if we feel it's straightforward enough, we could go ahead and approve it tonight rather than bringing it back for a second meeting. Is that staff's position?
Correct. Correct. That is our position on it.
Yep. Great. Okay. Thank you. I think we do have representatives from the owner developer. Would we like to offer you the chance to make a comment on that? If we can signal who is
Yeah, this is Brian Ridge from Ridge Development. And
Right.
we're excited about this project. We think it'll be a real asset to the area as it's developed and the new Highway 58 through there. And it's a very nice building and it fits well in there. And we're going to place it right over the existing space where Doughy Joey's is. So it basically sits right on top of where that building was. But we'll have a brand new building there versus one that's 20 years old or so. So we're excited about it. We want to bring this to Cedar Falls and hopefully we get your support.
All right. Great. Thank you. Anyone else? I know. Do we have Nick? Did you want to make any comments on the plan or anything, or?
No, I thought Chris handled it well, and I've reviewed the staff report, and it's consistent with all the coordination we've been doing with city staff, and appreciate their assistance through the design and coordination process. So obviously, if there's any questions, let me know.
Great. Thank you, Nick. Nick Hatch from Civil Engineers. At this point then, I will bring it back to the commission for discussion and potential action. So this can be just a discussion item for tonight, but if we do feel comfortable with it, the staff is comfortable with us moving it forward and actually voting on it. So put that out there for commissioners' consideration.
I'm curious on the timeline for this process.
Yeah, is that something the
Harley, are you,
developer can
are
answer?
you,
Yeah.
This is Brian Ridge. The timeline would be, we would be looking at getting the property closed in June, and then working with the current owner as he vacates it. And once he vacates it, then we'd go through the demolition process and hopefully have a late summer start of 2020
Okay,
for
very good.
construction. It's approximately a year build on it.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any concerns and I think it's consistent with the area.
I agree.
Looks like a great project.
Yeah, I don't see any problems. It's pretty consistent with the other work you've done elsewhere, as was mentioned, and it seems like appropriate for the location. So I would have no problem personally seeing it, approve it, and move it forward rather than bring it back for a second meeting.
I would move that we approve and forward to council the next meeting.
Okay. Been moved by Leeper and seconded by Prideaux that we approve this project, move it forward. Is there any further discussion?
I have a question, I guess. In looking at the site plan, if I'm understanding it correctly, it looks like the lion's share of that overall parking area is part of this property. And being how to date is two kind of like properties, both in hospitality, it seems like there might have been a lot of shared parking. Is there any kind of potential issue that could exist with the Javuz building being short on parking, where this has been de facto kind of shared or combined in the past? And would there be any kind of restrictions on patrons to tenants in that building parking in what appears to be the bank's parking lot?
This is Brian Ridge again. There is an ECR agreement that addresses all of the shared parking issues with that. So, and as you can see, we're over parked. And part of that comes into play is the timing of when the credit union is open and when the other buildings are very busy. So there's not a lot of conflict on those timings. So
You do have a shared parking agreement with the neighboring properties, though, correct? That's the way I understand it.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they are allowed to park in your parking and vice versa.
Yes.
That's mainly what I wanted to clarify. Obviously, the time of day and timing of business all makes sense, but it really really boils down to what, what will be effectively done and enforced.
Yeah. Kyle, the other thing to consider is that Joey Joe's restaurant and Zabu's would have had their peak hours at the exact same time. So the reduction of parking in this case is probably a good thing.
Yes, I would agree. I was mainly just curious to verify for the record that there was some kind of agreement in place to where, parking would be allowed to overlap to one area to the other without any conflicts.
Good. Further discussion, questions?
I think it looks nice.
Good. Well, seeing none, we'll, Karen, I'll go ahead and ask you for the roll call.
Okay. Mr. Hartley,
Aye.
Holst,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Leeper,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Prideaux,
Aye.
all ayes.
Great. So that motion carries. We'll move forward. Is there, I imagine that goes fairly directly to City Council?
Yes, we would anticipate this being on the next City Council meeting.
Great. Thank you. We have one final item of business tonight, and that's the College Hill Neighborhood Overlay Facade Review. Wheat pasting murals to celebrate UNI graduates. And who's introducing that one? Is that?
I'll
Karen?
introduce that one. Karen.
Yes, thanks, Karen.
Get our PowerPoint back up here. Yeah, this is a kind of an exciting project. If you recall, last year there were some murals that were put up, wheat pasted murals in the College Hill Business District. This would be a similar project. It's being proposed by UNI, and it's led by a team of UNI students, led by the interactive digital studies professor, Bettina Fabus, who I believe is on the line, so she can speak to the project itself. But they have proposed this project on the same buildings that they had the wheat pasting last year. They would be removing any remnants of those wheat pasted murals from last year and then replacing them with these new murals. It's intended to celebrate graduation, and of course with the pandemic, unfortunately students are not able to enjoy the fruits of their labors at UNI and enjoy a graduation ceremony, so it's a way to celebrate some of those seniors. And the College Hill Partnership, I believe Catherine's on the line as well, and they sent in a letter of support for this project. And once again, the reason that you are reviewing this proposal is because any kind of changes to the facades in the College Hill Neighborhood Overlay District requires P&Z and council approval. It just should be noted that these are temporary installations, and when they begin to deteriorate, of course, they will be removed from the buildings and the walls restored, any remnants from those. And I think it's proposed to also repaint the corner building there at the Copy Works, as noted in the staff report. So here you can see some of the images that will be on the buildings. North face of Octopus, the east face of Little Bigs, and the south face there of the Copy Works. And so with that, Community Development Department recommends approval of this facade proposal to install wheat pasted murals on the buildings in the College Hill Neighborhood Overlay District. We would entertain any questions that you have, and again, I would note that Bettina Fabus is on the line that can answer any more detailed questions.
Okay. Thanks, Karen. I guess I would, Bettina, did you want to make any comments? I'd offer you the opportunity to do that now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mayor Green and the P&Z commissioners for hearing this project. This is an outgrowth of work my students have been working on all semester. They took these portraits for another project that involved a 60 portrait installation that celebrates educators and K through 12. and UNI students. And we're repurposing because my students are now all over the state, and we really would love to use this work in a very positive, celebratory way. So we would like to take the portraits that we took of the UNI seniors from the mural project that they created, and celebrate the graduating UNI seniors on College Hill. We have support from the building owners. We have support from College Hill Partnership, and we have support from the provost. And my students are really excited about sharing the warmth of graduation that they won't be able to experience to the entire graduating class at UNI. It's kind of a tearful moment for everyone, but we're trying to make the best of it.
Great. All right, thank you, Bettina. Who's representing College Hill Partnership? Do they want to make some comment?
Thank you, guys. And I think when Bettina and her students came to us, we kind of jumped at the idea. Obviously, we really enjoyed the current wheat pastings that are up on College Hill. And I think in this moment, we all need this, like, we all need to kind of try to get back to normalcy, or at least do things that will help us celebrate the big moments. I used to work in a bridal shop, so I think about all of the people who are going through these momentous moments and having to make changes. And I think this is a really cool way that we can celebrate these seniors who have been a part of our community for up to 4 or 5 years, even sometimes more, how we can help celebrate and show them that they're a very important part of our community, and we are celebrating them in all of their hard work. And I think it's a great partnership between the city, obviously our organization, and the university. Anytime that we can strengthen those bonds, we think that's a wonderful thing.
Great. Thank you. At this time, I'd open it up to anybody who might be logged on, the general public, who'd like to make a comment. If so, flag us by raising the hand or using the *9. And I am seeing none. So I'll go ahead and bring this back to the commission for any discussion, questions, and hopefully a motion.
Great project, Bettina. Thanks to you and everyone at UNI and College Hill Partnership. These are little things that make our community what it is. So especially in these times, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it's a great project. It's first go around was wonderful, and I think this is a great idea and very timely. So I think we need to approve it.
I would agree. I would make a motion to approve it. Thanks, Bettina. It's awesome.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Hartley. Any further discussion? See none. Karen, you're back on for roll call.
Okay. Hartley?
Aye.
Holst?
Aye.
Larson?
Aye.
Leeper?
Aye.
Lynch?
Aye.
Prideaux?
Aye.
Okay, all ayes. Motion carries.
Great. So that concludes our regular business for tonight. Is there, Karen, do you have any commission updates tonight?
I don't have anything in particular. I just want to thank the commission for working with the staff and with the city and getting this first sort of virtual meeting going. I think it went pretty well, and I just want to thank you for your time.
Yeah, well, thank you for, and all the rest of the staff that's worked so hard to pull this together. You've done a great job. We really appreciate it. So if there aren't any other comments, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, for weathering our first ever video conferencing Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. We're adjourned.